Morning or afternoon or evening or good night whenever you're watching this. For me, it is morning, and I find myself standing under the Russian flag, the Finnish flag, the Swedish flag, and the Estonian flag. That's because I was in Tallinn just for a few hours as I'm making a connecting flight. So I decided to stay in the Old Town, literally for a few hours. So my sincere apologies for people I know in Tallinn. I literally didn't have a moment. I arrived super late and I'm leaving super early. I arrived, it was a torrential downpour of rain, and I'm basically making my way from the centre of the Old Town to the airport. So join me on that journey as we walk through a very grey, cobbled Old Town. This is an amazing little town, actually. I mean, one of my first videos on my channel is me wandering around the streets of Tallinn. And you'll see where we are straight away. Pretty much the centre, but there is some life. There's a car up. It's about 9 a.m. I've just had breakfast at my hotel. Nice little hotel, very medieval, built in the 14th century, that one. Oh, this is the House of the Blackheads. You remember if I was in Riga and I went to the House of the Blackheads, I have one here too, and just like in Riga, beautiful decoration, and it sort of celebrates, well, it's a bit of a cult really, but it's not. They're good people. They do good things for the local community. A little bit like the Masons do good things. They're very much more open about it though. But this is the House of the Blackheads, and as we head down towards into the streets of Riga, I'll sort of show you around. We noticed I'm a little bit out of breath. My hotel, for some reason, my room was in the dark depths of the, well, it wasn't the basement because I had a view, well, a tiny little view. Look at the architecture up here, quite phenomenal. Some of the city is like, well, my hotel was built in the 14th century. Many of these buildings are 600, 700 years old. Not obviously all of them. They've obviously been renovated multiple times. It is one of the few cities in this region that was never sacked. The city of Tartu was completely overrun by hordes. I think that was around about the sort of 14th century. I could be slightly wrong on that, but I need to correct that. But the entire city of Tartu was basically burnt down. But Tallinn, which is in the north of Estonia, wasn't. Just sort of swing around here. Just even enjoy this sort of architecture, but it is a phenomenally beautiful city. If you're considering a visit to Tallinn, a weekend is probably optimum. If you can get away with spending longer in Tallinn, I would highly recommend it. We're going to head down here into the main square. Look at these buildings. If you head that way, down that street just there, and I think it's the second left, you get to the DM bar. You'll see that in my first video on Tallinn. I produced that video I think in 2017, which basically proves I haven't really been here since 2017, and that's the DM bar, is the Depeche Mode bar. Nice little bar, very quirky, but if you want guaranteed good music, because it basically is Depeche Mode all night, that's the place to head to. Irish bar here, they've always got live music on. This is Mad Murphy's. I've noticed a big local crowd actually. A lot of locals there sort of singing and dancing. This is the main square. And this is where the microphone packs up, isn't it? As soon as the wind steps up, we lose all ability. And you notice all the Christmas decorations have been taken down because we're basically in February now. I don't know why we've still got Christmas trees. So we are in February, and this means that finally the UK has left the European Union. I arrived in Europe as a European citizen. I will be heading back to London today, no longer a European citizen, but as a British citizen. And they claim that planes will be dropping out of the sky They claim that it would be the end of the world as we know it, and the British wouldn't be able to cope, and everyone would be dying in the hospitals. And well, that's actually happening in China, in Wuhan, I should say, Wuhan. I mean, let's just observe this. This is a beautiful, beautiful square. I think it's worth appreciating, just taking it all in. Not bad, eh? If you get here early enough, on a sunny day, and also later in the day, obviously the square starts filling with tourists. Now I sense the wind is picking up again, and this is the most damaging thing about these videos. The wind always sort of gets in the way, and then I have to do little cuts, which makes my life a little bit harder. I noticed as I was arriving late last night, this was I think underneath Margo, it was a bit of a sleazy bar going on. I was being summoned in as I was arriving with my bag, trying to walk up the hill in the torrential downpour. I don't know, but it looks pretty legit tonight, but last night it didn't. There's a lot of nice little bars, very old-fashioned food you can get here, Estonian food. You know, the kind of place you want to come if you want a tourist version of authentic, if that makes sense. Look at these buildings, really, really nice. You can obviously imagine, when the sun is out, and it's a nice summer day, you'll see these beautiful buildings. The Ukrainian Union flag still flying up there. It looks like the Italian headquarters over there. There's another sort of traditional Estonian place. Estonian food's pretty good, actually. I do recommend it. One of the numerous strip clubs there, karaoke bar, strip club. If that's your thing. Maybe it is. Not everyone's thing, but some people's thing. And as we head down the road, we're soon going to get to the edge of the Old Town. The Old Town really isn't that small. I started pretty much in the middle. I could have started a little bit higher. And if you go back to my original videos where you see me wandering and you see the views, it's pointless to do the same video. If you can see right in the distance, that's the old Soviet hotel, Virtue Hotel or Viru Hotel. I'm clearly going to be saying that wrong. That's where the old KGB headquarters used to be, and they used to do a lot of listening on the tourists that would come to Tallinn. It is a nice little street, even on a grey day, but I'm glad that it's not raining as hard as it was yesterday. Yesterday the rain was just flooding down the street. Over here is a bar on the rooftop, very trendy bar, just sort of at the top of this rooftop on this modern building. You can probably see the terrace at the top there. That's a trendy bar. And this is one of the, I think this the gates to the Old Town here, I could be wrong, but I think they were finished in the sort of 15th century. Obviously there were gates before then, but I think this version of the gates was completed around about the 15th century. Complete eyesore, the Soviet hotel, which has now had a bit of a facelift because it's got this sort of hopefully non-flammable. This guy's a bit of an icon here. You see the gates to the wall. It's a wall that sort of basically surrounds the city and protects the city. Useful back in the day, because when the city was originally first founded, the Vikings used to maraud. I mean, this Estonia used to be Denmark, and then it became, I think in the 15th century, 16th century, it was Russia, or the Soviet Union, or the Russian equivalent, and then I think in pretty much stayed Soviets all the way up until 1941 when the Germans came in. And then in 1944 it was taken back. And then since 1944 it was Russian occupation. And then obviously in 1989 they had the fall of, well, the end of the Cold War and the fall of communism. And Estonia finally started to become its own country. But let's have a look at these flowers. Also, it gives me a chance to look at my phone and see where the tram is located that I should be getting. It's just on the edge of the old town. So I think just past the old KGB listening headquarters. And if you're curious about that, my video titled "Is this the worst museum in the world?" or I'll put the link in the description. It is possibly one of the worst museums I've ever been to. And I'm a big fan of spy movies, spy history, spy books. And that was a really boring museum. And I usually love museums. A little bit of a chain over here. Hesburger seems to be all over the Baltics. Latvia, Estonia, I think Lithuania as well, and I think also maybe in Finland there's a Hesburger. Not sure where it comes from, but it's effectively their McDonald's. There's also, sadly, McDonald's, which we walk past just over there. They're everywhere, really, aren't they? You notice the obvious difference between the new town and the old town. It changes dramatically. Should do it across. You know what I'm going to do? Because it's rainy, to stop the wind noise. From my memory, because I know this hotel, it is the Viru Hotel. You can walk through the shopping centre to get to the... Excuse me, just had breakfast. You can walk through the shopping centre, stay dry, stay warm, get to where the trams are. That could be the tram. Might be the tram. One of the trams. I think I need tram number 2 to get to the airport. So I'm going to walk through the shopping centre. Hopefully be able to get in. Obviously new times for us. We've got till December for the UK to sort of hack out a trade agreement with the European Union. My thoughts are, I really hope it fails. Not because I like to see things burning to the ground. I just don't feel there's a future for the European Union. I love Europe. I love all European countries. I love European people. I just don't like corrupt political unions, and I almost think it will be a lesson to them if it allows the European Union, or gives them a reality check that they're not invincible. Hang on, let me just wipe this. Okay, so now we're in the shopping centre. Hopefully this is going to take us all the way through. It's nice because it's warm. Usually not a fan of consumerism and shopping centres, but when it comes to staying warm in these northern European countries, if you can sort of nip into a shopping centre to make your route, take in some of the route via the shopping centre, it's highly worthwhile. This is pretty good actually. All over the Baltics, the nice smoothies, nice sandwiches, very freshly made, organic. That's the only recommendation I have in here. I don't endorse the consumer lifestyle. The way I see it, the heavier one's bag, the harder it is to get around. And every time you come to move, be it move house, move apartment, or just move generally. The hassle when you have lots of possessions. So the least number of possessions you can have, the better, because it makes moving days far easier. They say moving and I think getting married are one of the most stressful days of your life. Although maybe getting married is one of the happiest days of your life. But it's also stressful, but moving is certainly very stressful. It's still raining. Well, it's not going to stop raining, is it? And here we are. Hopefully we can get... Actually, to be honest, maybe it's a bus. Maybe it's the bus I'm getting. Or let's see. I don't know. So I'll be getting the number 2 bus. Google always tells you from the time what is the quickest way. And it's changing all the time. If I was to refresh this in 10 minutes time, it will tell me a different route. But at the moment I need number 2. I just missed it. Oh, I missed it. Okay, so I just come out of the Viru shopping mall with a hotel connected to it. I realised I had to look at my GPS. I realised my GPS was completely wrong. It's one of the things when you go into a building, you come out of it and the GPS is like 500 meters away from you actually where you really are. At least on my phone anyway, and then you have to wait for the coordination. Let's see. It's one of those typical cold Estonian Februaries. But what do you expect? I mean, we're 200 miles from St. Petersburg, we're 50 miles from Helsinki, maybe 200 miles from Stockholm, all across the water obviously for Helsinki and Stockholm. You can get a train to St. Petersburg from here, or you can get the boats. The reason Tallinn is what it is because it was a significant port back in the day. It still is, but it was a trade route for, you know, Denmark, Sweden, Russia, the Vikings, you know, go back far enough. It was a bit of a, you know, this is their trade route, their entrance to. I think that was my bus. Hello. That was my bus. Hello. I think that was my bus, but it was someone was just waving at me. Okay. So I think I got off the tram one stop early. This is great because it's cold and it's wet. But I think the airport's just down there, so no big deal. That's right, I did get off the tram stop one too early. The reason I've sped up this footage is I'm trying to speak and it's incredibly windy and all you hear is that annoying sound. You don't want to be hearing that on your speakers or your earpieces, hence the reason to fast forward. It will cost you about €2 to get to the airport on the tram, and I highly recommend using that mode of transport. So, try not to get hit by the tram. There we go. I think he wants to go this way, so let's hope he sees me. Yeah. Wipe the lens once. Okay, so here we go. That was a tram. Oh, one thing I will say, this is if you want to get the bus to Tartu or anywhere use this machine when it loads up. It will tell you, type obviously English or Russian or Estonian if you can speak it. I'll type English. Buy a ticket. Head to Tartu, or you might want to go to Vuohur or Puhu. Very easy. There's normally trains every sort of half an hour. And if you want to get on the tram, you actually want to pay, use this one. Buy a ticket, it's €1.50, because on the tram it will actually cost €2. That is if the driver accepts your money. But here we are at the airport. As easy as that. A lot more accessible, a lot easier to get to than certain airports around the world. Certainly a shorter journey than from central London to one of the, some of the numerous airports in London. I probably could have got here, at least I could probably got here half an hour later, but you never know. And appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.